Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So I am going to be going through with you what Manchester United must do to win the Premier League title. So we need to make around 4 or 5 more signings. Obviously there has been quite a few players on our agenda. So it is good that we are making plans for next year. I think we also need to get rid of our current board. They're definitely one of the problems at the football club because I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been backed enough as Manchester United manager. But none of our managers have been backed enough, since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. So yeah, we've got to get Woodward and the Glazers and out of the club. I think we also need to get rid of the Deadwood next year because there's still some Deadwood in the squad. And I think Manchester United need a new manager because I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right manager for Manchester United. But I do hate to say that because I do love him a lot because he is a club legend and he was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. Now, obviously, we haven't won the Premier League for 8 years now. The last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. And that season we won it by 11 points. But we are the most successful team in Premier League history because we have won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League titles. So there you go. And Mauricio Pochettino is the favourite to take over at Manchester United. But I have been hearing that he will not wait for the Manchester United job. Now, on a recent video, I give you the news on what Rio Ferdinand said regarding Pochettino. Rio Ferdinand claims that Manchester United have not had any conversations with Mauricio Pochettino over replacing Solskjaer at the club. And Rio Ferdinand said he's frustrated with the disrespect that's been shown to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So Rio Ferdinand believes that Solskjaer should remain at the football club. Mauricio Pochettino was linked with a managerial role at Man United after the sacking of Jose Mourinho. He was talking on Monday Night Football last week and he said that he misses football and he's ready for a return to management. The question is though, where's he going to go? Is he going to come to Manchester United? Is he going to go to Manchester City because Man City have been in for him? Is he going to go to Real Madrid? Is he going to go to Barcelona? Is he going to go to PSG? Because I heard that he's considering the PSG job. Obviously, it said the other week that Zenit St Petersburg were in talks with him and Newcastle at one point were in for him. But Mauricio Pochettino has been managerless now for like a year because he was sacked from Tottenham last year. But Tottenham made a bad mistake by getting rid of him, didn't they? But Pochettino is well Premier League proven and he's dealt with top players and he has got a good philosophy. My only element of concern about him is not won anything in terms of silverware. Now, obviously, there's... Earlier on, I give you the 5 players that Mauricio Pochettino could sign if he's appointed as Man United manager, and that's Harry Kane, Jadon Sancho, Dele Alli, Erling Haaland and Jack Grealish. I think also too Kalidou Koulibaly was mentioned. More than likely if Pochettino was recommended in, obviously he'd want a director of footballing because that's one of the structural changes that we need at the club. But the question is, if we did get Pochettino in, would the board back him enough? That's the question. But I think Pochettino's a better manager than Solskjaer, definitely. We've obviously been looking at Massimiliano Allegri as one alternative to Pochettino. We've also been looking at Julian Nagelsmann. He's another alternative to Pochettino. Julian Nagelsmann is regarded as one of the best young coaches in the world. But, there's still some Manchester United fans that think Solskjaer deserves more time. But obviously there's some Man United fans on the other side of things saying that he does need to be sacked. Now, obviously, there's been many ups and downs so far this season for Manchester United. Obviously, we had good wins against PSG and RB Leipzig in the Champions League group stage. We had a very, very good win against Everton recently, beating them by 3-1. But obviously, we had a very, very bad defeat against Tottenham, lost to them by 6-1. That was the first time we'd lost 6-1 at Old Trafford since Man City beat us 6-1 back in 2011. We lost our opening game against Crystal Palace by 3-1. That was the second season in a row in the Premier League that Palace had beaten us at Old Trafford. We also lost to Arsenal the other week by 1-0. That was Arsenal's first win at Old Trafford in the Premier League since 2006. So that's, 14 years ago now. We lost to Istanbul Başakşehir in the Champions League group stage. That was our first defeat in the group stage. And it was an embarrassment because Istanbul Başakşehir were formed in 1990 and that was their first win in the Champions League group stage. But I'm still convinced that Man United will get into the knockout stages of the competition. We are sitting 14th in the Premier League table. So we've got to build on that win against Everton. Obviously, it is West Brom after the international break. Manchester United should be definitely winning that because West Brom are really struggling. They're sitting 18th in the league, so they are in the relegation zone and they haven't won any of their games yet in the league. West Brom obviously finished second last season in the Championship, and that's what obviously got them up to the Premier League. Their current manager is Slaven Bilic. I know a few of their players, like I've already mentioned. They've got that Karlan Grant, who I think they got from Huddersfield Town on a 6-year deal, was it? They've got that Grada Diagana. They've got Callum Robinson, they've got Matheus Pereira. Matheus Pereira has been out with injury. They've also got Charlie Austin. They've got Conor Gallagher. They've got Dara O'Shea, who's just come back from injury for West Brom. They've got that Samfield. He's been out with injury. They've also got that Ivanovic. He's been out with injury. Carnew. He's also been out with injury. So yeah, I do know a few of their players. The last time we played West Brom, we lost by 1-0 at Old Trafford, and that was a few years ago now. They also beat us 2-1 at Old Trafford under the David Moyes era. But yeah, it's at Old Trafford, the game against West Brom after the international break. We are still looking for our first win at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. It is our worst start at Old Trafford for around 50 years. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's future will be decided maybe in the next 5 or 6 games. Maybe less if we're, losing that to West Brom, But if we do win our next couple of games, then it could be decided in the next 5 or 6 games. But if we lose to West Brom and then, we lose another game, then I think his time at Manchester United will be up. But going into that Everton game, he was under serious pressure. And if we would have failed to beat Everton, then I think he would have been sacked as Manchester United manager. Ole has been at the club now almost 2 years. And he's got a contract with the football club until 2022. We appointed him in December 2018, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. I think we did make a mistake giving him the job permanently, because I think he's in a position he shouldn't be in. But the main explanation we gave him the job permanently was reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. But we've made a lot of mistakes in the last 7 years or so, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been so inconsistent. You know? Ollie has managed over 100 games for Manchester United in all competitions. It cost the club probably around £4 or £5 million to sack him, but that's totally contrast to what the £18 million that we paid to get rid of Jose Mourinho. Like I've said to you on my videos I did not so long ago, Solskjaer has been in the same situation as what Mourinho was in, because obviously Mourinho wasn't backed enough by the board, and he made it clear to our board in the summer of 2018 that he wanted a centre-half in. He obviously never got that centre-half in, did he? And that was one of the main explanations why it didn't work out for Mourinho. There was other reasons as well, because he didn't get on with the board in general. He didn't get on with our top players. You know what I mean? But some people think Paul Pogba was the contributing factor to Jose Mourinho getting sacked, because you had Mourinho on that calling Paul Pogba a virus, and obviously Paul Pogba celebrated when Jose Mourinho got sacked by the football club. But next year, I think Manchester United need a centre-half, and I think we also need a right winger as well. Solskjaer has had a habit of recruiting young British talents to the club since he got appointed in as Manchester United manager. Now, obviously, in a lot of his games at Manchester United, he's been tactically naive. You know, his team selections have definitely been questionable, aren't they? But in a lot of the big games, he has showed a lot of tactical flexibility, and our record against the top 6 side since he got appointed in has been good. You know, Ollie's beaten Julian Nagelsmann, he's beaten Thomas Tuchel, you know, he's beaten PSG twice as Manchester United manager. Last season, beaten Pep Guardiola 3 times, beaten Frank Lampard 3 times, and he's beaten Jose Mourinho once. But reflecting now on Ollie's been at the club, he has gained managerial experience, but he hasn't got a proven pedigree behind him, has he? He's hardly won anything, you know. Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career, hasn't won out with Man United yet. He's obviously hoping to win some silverware this season. Obviously, at Molde, he did win a few Norwegian titles, but, you know, Molde are a big club. And at Cardiff was disastrous. You know, he enjoyed a short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated, didn't he? He did manage a Man United reserve team for a couple of years, so he did watch some of this team at this day and age grow and develop. You know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting a squad that is worth £700 million. This is obviously disregarding who he's brought in. Obviously, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. Obviously, Jose Mourinho recommended Lee Granton, he recommended Diego Dalot, he recommended, well, Dalot's no longer here, but he still brought him in. He obviously brought Victor Lindelof in, he brought Bay in, he brought Paul Pogba in, he brought Matic in, he brought Fred in, he brought Sanchez in, he's not at Man United now. He brought Ibrahimovic in, he's no longer at Man United. He brought Mkhitaryan in, he's no longer at Man United. He brought Lukaku in, you know, he's no longer at Man United. So yeah, Mourinho recommended around 11 players in to the football club. Obviously, Ollie's inheriting few players, even Louis van Gaal era. Louis van Gaal brought around, was it 14, 15 players into the club, but the vast majority of them players have now left. You know, Louis van Gaal brought the likes of Schneiderlin, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, Memphis Depay, Falcao, Rojo, Darmian, Blind, Martial, Shaw, they're still here. He brought Herrera in, and he also brought the likes of Victor Valdes in, Louis van Gaal. Obviously, Solskjaer's inheriting one player here from the David Moyes era, and that's Juan Mata, because Juan Mata's still at the club. But Moyes did bring 2 players in, and obviously it was Fellaini and Juan Mata, but Fellaini is no longer at the football club. Ollie's inheriting only, is it 2 players here now from the Sir Alex Ferguson era, because obviously De Gea is still at the club, and Phil Jones is still at the club. I think now there's only 2 players here now, like I mentioned. You know? But us sacking Ole Solskjaer, would it solve a lot? Really, would it? Probably not, because not all the blame stems from the manager, does it? You know, Man United are not known as a sacking football club, despite the fact we've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Like I said, it was Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. But no matter what manager Manchester United get in, they will not last as long as Ferguson, and they will not replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, Ferguson endured 27 years at Man United. He endured over 20 years of success because he won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles. But one of the greatest managers. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. We hadn't have had Ferguson, we wouldn't have had any success, would we? Because since he's left being poor, before he came into the equation, we was also very, very inconsistent. The only mistake Ferguson ever made was appointing David Moyes in. Moyes should never been appointed in, but the main explanation Ferguson did that because obviously they was both Scottish and they got on very, very well. You know. But yeah, Ole has spent over £200 million since he came to Man United, and he's endured, 4 transfer windows at the football club. I also like the way he has promoted the youth. He did well in his first full season last season, got us qualification for the Champions League, also got us 3rd, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. So yeah, these positives to take from his tenure. Now, the players I think we'll be looking to get rid of next year is Jesse Lingard, Phil Jones, Marcus Rojo. We could be loaning out Daniel James next year. Brandon Williams, he could also be loaned out because Brandon Williams is now our 3rd choice left back following the arrival of Alex Telles. Matic, do you think he could be sold next year? Because, you know, Matic has lost his place now in the team. Do you think Juan Mata could also be sold next year? Juan Mata's already said that he wants to stay at Manchester United for this season. And a lot of United fans are expecting Paul Pogba to leave the football club. You know what I mean? But we'll definitely, you know, sell more players. Now, these players at Manchester United that have been underperforming, you know, Daniel James, when he's played recently, he's been underperforming. Daniel James played a lot of games last season, and he was quite consistent, but I think last season Ole overplayed him, in my opinion. We paid, was it around £18 million for Daniel James from Swansea in June last year. Daniel James signed a 5-year contract with the football club. Obviously, you know, Leeds United are the ones that have been interested in him. In January 2019, Leeds United came very, very close to signing him. Now, Martial, he's been underperforming this season. I know, obviously, he got a 3-match suspension in the Premier League, but before that, he was poor. And he wasn't so good against Everton either, to be honest with you. And This is why a lot of Manchester United fans are now saying we need to start Edinson Cavani ahead of Anthony Martial. You know, don't get me wrong, Anthony Martial did well last season under Ollie, and he did well in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial's endured five years or so at Manchester United, hasn't he? Don't forget, we did give him the number 9 shirt. But yeah, I'd start Edinson Cavani ahead of him now. I want to see Edinson Cavani start against West Brom. If he does start, that will be his full Premier League debut for the club. Edinson Cavani scored against Everton, didn't he? That was his first goal for Manchester United and his first goal in English football. We got Edinson Cavani on a free, didn't we? But we are paying him a substantial amount a week. We're paying him like 220 grand a week. And Cavani did obviously sign a 2-year contract with the club. Now, I've got to say, Scott McTominay, I think he's been underperforming recently. He's had a couple of good games this season, McTominay. But I've criticised him so many times, you know. Some people don't think he's good enough for Man United. You know, McTominay has been part of the club for several years. Was it just after the first lockdown? Towards the end of last season, McTominay signed a 5-year contract with the football club. Got to say as well, Wan-Bissaka has been underperforming recently. He's had good games this season, but his last couple of games, he's looked a bit off the pace. Hasn't won many tackles. Lacked that attacking intent. But yeah, obviously we'll still keep him at the club, you know. Wan-Bissaka's in his second season at Manchester United. We've got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. You know, Nemanja Matic, he's inconsistent sometimes. He's had some good games at Man United. Like I said earlier, he's lost his place in the team. Matic did have some good games though towards the end of last season, didn't he? Matic has endured 3 years or so now at Man United. You know, paid £40 million for him from Chelsea back in 2017. But we prefer McTominay and Fred over Matic, don't we? And Paul Pogba, he's been very, very inconsistent. I think Paul Pogba has only had a good couple of periods at Man United, and that was towards the end of last season. His combination with Bruno Fernandes was good, and I think he did well in that 3-month period when Ollie was the interim manager. Pogba's done okay in the couple of games when he's come on as a substitute, but hasn't made the best of impacts, has he? Now, I'll give you the news on Paul Pogba yesterday. The France manager, Didier Deschamps, he said that Paul Pogba cannot be happy at Manchester United for being left on the bench and for playing out of position. And he said that he wants to talk with Paul Pogba over his situation at Manchester United. Jamie Carragher is also urging Man United to sell him. You know, we've lowered our asking price for him, I heard. You know, we will accept around £53 million for him. But he has had a long-running transfer saga as Paul Pogba. Obviously, there's been rumours of him going to Real Madrid. There's obviously been rumours of him going back to Juventus. There's also been rumours of him going to PSG. You know, Barcelona have been in for him before. I think he'll go to Real Madrid because towards the start of the season, Paul Pogba made an admission saying that one day his dream is to join Real Madrid. And last year, Paul Pogba made an admission saying that one day he wants... Last year, he made an admission, saying that, you know, he wants to leave Man United because seeking for a new challenge. And he was talking a lot about Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane. Pogba is into his 5th season at Man United since he rejoined. He's our most expensive sign at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. Not only that, he's one of the highest paid players at the club because he's on 290 grand a week. He's Paul Pogba. Paul probably wasn't happy that we triggered that 1 year extension on his contract, but we did that, I think, to cash in for him, obviously. Could be one of the reasons why we did it. But there has been no talks over getting Paul Pogba a long-term contract at the club. But Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, said during the summer that Pogba wanted to stay and he would hold talks over a new long-term contract. But he's only started 2 of our last 7 games. You know, last season hardly played because he was out with that ankle injury. Paul Pogba. Victor Lindelof. I've got strong reservations about Victor Lindelof. He's had some good games this season, don't get me wrong, but he's nowhere near on the same level as Harry Maguire, is he? Let's be honest. You know, but on the other side of things, there's players that I've been impressed with as well at Manchester United. You know, I've been very, very impressed with Marcus Rashford. Very, very good in the Everton game. You know, he got an assist. He also got a hat-trick against RB Leipzig. Second Manchester United player as a substitute to get a hat-trick. He also scored late on in Paris. And that was the second time he'd done that. You know, Rashford just recently turned 23 and he has been part of the club for several years. I think Marcus Rashford's better out wide than he is centrally, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But a lot of aspects of his game have improved. His finishing's improved. He's scoring goals. He gets good runs in behind. Got a lot of pace on him. Good to see. And he's the foreseeable future for Man United. Donny van de Beek, now he's impressed me in the games he has played in. But he's hardly played, has he? You know, he's not yet made his full Premier League debut, surprisingly. He has started our last 2 games in the Champions League. You know, we paid £40 million for Donny van de Beek from Ajax. You know, Donny van de Beek signed a 5-year contract with the club with an option of a further year, and he currently wears that number 34 shirt. I think Solskjaer's been trying to figure out where his best position would be, Donny van de Beek's. Because I heard he can play in like 3 different roles. At Ajax, it was predominantly a box-to-box midfielder. Got to be starting against West Brom, but I don't think he will, to be honest with you. I think we'll start Bruno Fernandes ahead of him. You know. Now, Bruno Fernandes, he's really, really impressed me. You know, he recently scored twice against Everton. He also got an assist in the game. In the vast majority of Bruno Fernandes' games, he's been very, very consistent at Man United. You know, there's only been a couple of games where he's looked off the pace. He was poor against Istanbul Besiktas. That was his worst performance in a Manchester United shirt, without a doubt, because he was dispossessed 34 times. Bruno Fernandes has endured around, 9 months at the club. A lot of his goals have come from the penalty spot, because we have had a lot of penalties under Ollie. Bruno Fernandes won Premier League Player of the Month last season. Also won some Matt Busby Player of the Year award. Paid £47 million for Bruno Fernandes, so we paid big money for him. You know, I've also been very, very impressed with Fred recently, got to be honest with you. Fred's much better than McTominay, but he's been playing a lot alongside McTominay. We paid £52 million, was it, for Fred? You know, Fred's got a contract with a football club until 2023. I thought Fred was an exceptional player when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, I've got to be honest. You know, David De Gea, he's really, really rejuvenated himself. And I said David De Gea will remain our number 1 this season. Obviously, Harry Maguire, he's another player that's really, really rejuvenated himself. You know, because he did have early season troubles, did Harry Maguire, didn't he? That's good to see. Luke Shaw, I've been impressed with him recently. You know, he's got 2 assists in his last 2 games. Got some negativity though now regarding Luke Shaw. He has got a hamstring injury. And Sky Sports and the BBC have said that Luke Shaw's going to be out for up to a month with this. He sustained it in the 3-1 win against Everton, Luke Shaw. It's It's my only element of concern about Luke Shaw, too injury prone. So there you go. So they're the players that have done well for Manchester United, recently. We've obviously got Eric Bailly out with muscle injuries out for a few weeks. That's my element of concern about Eric Bailly, too injury prone. Lingard's still out, but he's close to returning. Phil Jones, he's out injured and he recently had an operation. Rashford's had a problem with his shoulder. Lindelof, I think's had a back problem. But yeah. Telles, I think he's going to be a very, very good signing for Man United. He should be making his Premier League debut against West Brom, definitely. Don't forget, not so long ago, Alex Telles had coronavirus, didn't he? He's played one game so far, and that was against PSG, and that was his debut for the football club, Alex Telles. But obviously now he is our first choice left back, isn't he? Mason Greenwood, we're having a few issues with him at the moment. Obviously Man United are concerned about Mason Greenwood's attitude. And his lifestyle. Bruno Fernandes has recently been frustrated with him regarding his poor training session. He hasn't been out of illness like reports were saying, but he should be available for the game against West Brom. I haven't really had a perception on Greenwood this season because he hasn't played a lot because he's had these issues and he's obviously been withdrawn from the England squad. And I think Edinson Cavani will do well for us as well. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.